told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, the podcast where we break down the show Married at First Sight. Today, we're talking about season 16, episode 22. I am one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me is my co-host girl, because that's how we classify people nowadays. Relationship to them and gender. I'm with my podcast co-host girl, Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hey Jason, here's what I think she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
If we're doing the same method as Jasmine, it would be host co. So if
It's like your last name, first name thing. Where you go by your last name. Yeah.
She's flipping it because boyfriend is not quite appropriate yet. So she's saying friend boy.
It's my friend boy. What? All right.
So yes, hello, my host co. I am very excited to be here.
Are you?
I want to know who asked for this.
Who shot this and said and looked at what they shot and said, you know what? This is great for a second episode of 3. This is totally airable on network television. I feel like if you had shot this and you looked at it, it's like, you know what? Maybe we only need one post-decision day episode.
Right. Yes, honestly, this could have all been in one. I was so afraid it was going to go the full 2 hours.
Yeah, I was looking at the clock. I was watching the clock. Yeah. I was like, let me pause, see how far we're into all this. Okay, good.
So I was low-key relieved that there was an after party, even though I will say I did not watch the after party. When I saw who the guests were, I was like,
I did. It wasn't that exciting. It wasn't a lot.
Okay. I figured.
Yeah. So. This was words I would use are tedious, just redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Just some words I would use. Boring is a word I would use.
Dull. Let's keep it going.
Let's just fill up the whole podcast with words we could use to describe this episode of television.
Yes, if you are here and you didn't watch it, don't do it. For you. Props to you.
Keep your peace.
Right. Because if you're watching this season of The Ultimatum Queer Love, imagine what we're about to discuss. But imagine watching this week's batch of episodes of The Ultimatum Queer Love and then watching this episode of Married at First Sight. I was like, how is this happening? How is this an
How
episode
these
of
two
television?
shows exist in the same reality?
Right. Because they are part of the same universe, I would think.
In a way.
Right?
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
So yes, we are here to talk about episode 22 of Married at First Sight. Of season 16, and this is the second of 3 post decision day episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited about that. And if it's any indicator of what the third episode of post decision day will be like, we'll finally. I know that we'll finally get the infamous kiss that they spoiled for us months ago.
Months ago. Not days, not weeks ago, months ago, because that's how long this season has run. They shot that. As soon as they shot that, they flew that out to the editing bay, like, get this out there now.
This is gonna be so good. So I guess just a programming note, if you're curious. So what we have left is June 7th, we're going to have an episode called Last Call from Music City, which should be the last of the post-decision day episodes. Then we have a June 14th episode, which is called Cast Tell All, and it's with people from the previous seasons. Don't ask us because we don't know what it's about.
I feel like they are just wrongly using the word tell-all, because that is not what a tell-all is. I feel like they're just copying off 90 Day Fiance. Like, it works for them, it'll work for us. But a tell-all usually involves the people that were there, so they could tell all about what happened. But these people, if they are from previous seasons, were not there. So what are they going to tell?
Yeah, if they talk about this season, like if they're there to talk about this season. So stay tuned, because we may or may not have a podcast that week. I know.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that we're not gonna have a podcast that week.
Yeah. So we're going to enjoy the second week of June. Just a little mini break, because when the cast will tell all is June 21st and June 28th, 2-part reunion.
Listen, if this tell-all thing is so juicy, there's something so grand in this, I will call you, I will text you, I'll be like, hey, we gotta cover this on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I would, if I were you guys out there watching this or listening to this, I just would not expect us to have an episode that week. Just telling you now.
Yeah, like I can guarantee you on the podcast where we're talking about the episode from June 21st, we could probably do a 5-minute recap.
There was almost no podcast for this episode. We really had a debate. Is there enough to make a podcast episode of this?
Like, is this necessary? But hey, we're here. We're gonna make something out of nothing, and see how it works. Make sure you do go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed wherever you get your podcast, so you can get these podcasts. And if you're done watching the season but you still want to hear kind of what happened, we're here to cover it for you. So make sure you subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Also, make sure you subscribe to the RHAP Has a Podcast YouTube channel, because we are on YouTube. So if you leave us a 5-star rating and review, we will shout you out. So we have a few to shout out this week. The first one is from Chanel 1974. The title is Laugh Out Loud. It says, "You two crack me up and always make the recap laugh out loud. Often I am replying to you with much agreement and laughs, and when I don't agree, I'm still laughing. Thank you."
You don't agree? When would you not agree? I don't understand. It's I don't know how you wouldn't agree with us. We have such great takes, fire takes.
Right. This next one's from Kiana777. It's titled Love This Podcast. It says, "I listen to this podcast every week to get some hilarious banter about each episode. I recently abandoned this Nashville season because it was boring, but I still listen
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
But I still listen to this podcast every week. Thank you for keeping me up to date without even watching the show. Love the dynamic of you guys' relationship and the jokes you share. Please keep doing this."
Okay, fine.
Right?
For you, Kiana, we will keep doing the show. This was going to be our last show ever, but Kiana, you convinced me with that great review. We will go ahead and keep doing the show against our better judgment. We'll keep doing it.
Right. Exactly.
So I wanted to revisit our friends to the north up in Canada. So I got a couple reviews from them. The first one is from Liliana G. It's just a heart for the title. It says, "Recently started my MAFS journey, and it's gotten to the point where you only watch so I can listen to the pod directly after. This week I saw the podcast dropped, and I forgot to watch the episode. Rushed to watch the episode so I could then laugh with the podcast. The Love is Blind episodes are just a cherry on top, blah, blah, blah. I forget that last part. Thank you so much, Liliana. Appreciate it. Although, as we just heard, you don't really need to watch the episode. And for this week, I would suggest you don't watch the episode. If you're starting this podcast and you realize you didn't watch the episode, do not bother. Okay.
But if they're already listening to the podcast, they already rushed and watched the episode.
Hopefully they realized they got to this part before they did that. Yeah. But hey, you don't want to miss all that great furniture shopping, career counseling.
Yeah.
All those riveting segments of the television show. The other review I wanted to shout out is from Burton's Girl. The title is Aysha and Jason Give Us Beleaguered MAFS Fans the Will to Go On. And the review is, "If you thought that MAFS A Perfect Match podcast was the bomb, well, watching them on YouTube will give you life. Getting to see their playful banter, their facial expressions, and witticism chemistry is such a treat. These past two MAFS seasons have been slow-moving dumpster fires. If it wasn't for the friendship and chemistry between Baller Aysha and Salt of the Earth Sardonic Jason, we would never have continued to watch this train wreck. Hey, Lifetime, recognize that this unique podcasting duo is saving your MAFS viewership. They are the best around. Wow.
We did not pay them to say this.
We did not write that. We did not pay anyone to say it. That was a review given of free will. So, Burton's Girl, listen, these reviews give me life. So, thank you so much for that. It really keeps us going, especially on these, as you, Burton's Girl, put it, dumpster fire seasons. So, it really helps us put fuel in the tank and keep us going as well. So, thank you so much for that wonderful review.
Yes, thank you. That was beautiful.
That was great.
I could read that over and over.
I'm gonna post it on my wall back here. Like I have
you
blank
need
walls
something on that wall.
I mean, listen, do I want to look like I'm in a prisoner hostage video? Maybe.
Keep people on their toes.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. So let's
wait. Well, real quick. If you haven't already,
that's right. Yes, I'm sorry. I was too excited to get to this fantastic episode.
This 5-star episode.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all go join the Facebook group. We have a great time in there. It's very active. I really appreciate the community that comments on the show, comments on things throughout the week, or updating us on like what's happening on social media. It's great. So come join the 600 plus people that are listening to the podcast and are in this Facebook group. So if you search A Perfect Match Podcast, you'll find it. And this week, the Facebook password is...
I mean, how could it be anything other than Friend Boy? Okay, it's Friend Boy. It had to be that. There was you knew it as soon as you saw the words Friend Boy. That was going to be the password for this week's podcast. So it's Friend.
There we go. Yep. Friend Boy, put that in. You agree to the rules. We'll let you in. You can join the party. Have a great time, especially with the off season coming up. We'll still have things to talk about, things to update people on, and you get to see other people's thoughts. I know, listen to the podcast, you hear our thoughts. Sometimes people have other thoughts in the Facebook group, so it's great to go in there and just get that the discussion going.
They are not our thoughts, which are the right thoughts. So. But there are other thoughts presented.
There are thoughts.
There are thoughts. Whether they're right or wrong, we will not.
Welcome.
Whether the thoughts are right or wrong, we will not comment on.
So let's go ahead with this episode.
Yeah. So we open up, this exciting episode with the exciting segment. Chris and Nicole are in their closet. They're picking out an outfit for Chris to wear to a wedding for one of Nicole's friends in New York. In a confessional, Nicole says, it's going to be different this time around going to a wedding with a husband. I can dance to the slow songs. I can sing the love songs with him. It's going to be so great. They banter about how, this is going to be the first wedding that we're going to go to that we will actually know each other at. And she jokes about how, now I know how to dance with a tall person because I didn't at our wedding. Flashback to their wedding where she was awkwardly dancing with Chris. Oh my gosh, this content is fire.
It was so funny. Did you see the way she was holding his neck?
So next up, as if it couldn't get any worse, we go to one of our favorite stops this season. We are at Gina's salon.
Well, you didn't mention how Chris touched her nose and said, "Of course, you silly goose."
Silly goose. You silly goose.
I said,
"Hey,
Chris,
all you,
so funny
all you viewers out there, you silly gooses. Thank you so much for watching this podcast, you silly goose. Silly goose."
Oh my goodness.
Silly gooses. At Gina's salon, Gina's mom stops by, and I after seeing Gina's mom, I said, okay, yeah, I do actually remember seeing Gina's mom at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, she was nowhere to be found throughout the whole marriage. But she stops by to come get Hank. Her name is D Nice. It's spelled Denyce. All right, D Nice. She stops by to get Hank because Gina's going out of town. Gina says, "Oh, you sure you didn't want Clint to come get him?" She says, "No, I want Hank." I think she's
He's
jealous.
my
I
grandpup.
think she's jealous of Clint's relationship with Hank at this point.
Yeah, she's like, he just came into the picture, and
Yeah.
Hank's all crazy about him, and no, he's crazy about me. But grandpup is a
Hank
new
did
one.
not-
I think that's funny.
Grandpup?
Yeah, she said grandpup.
Your mom hasn't called Pepper Cinnamon her grandpups?
No, never. She calls them her like she calls herself their grandma, but does she ever say grandkids? No, she calls them the girls,
Oh,
but she calls herself their grandma.
Okay.
Yeah.
That fits. But yeah, but you know what? I didn't see Hank getting up and jumping all over mom like she does when Clint enters the picture. So
No.
maybe we're onto something there.
Hank was like, "Hey,
Hey, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you."
Right.
We find out that Gina is actually going out of town to go to Sedona, which is in Arizona, to I think she said work a wedding. So she's gonna be doing, I guess, hair for someone's wedding. But then she's going to go up to Canada to teach a class. Okay, great. She talks with one of her salon people about how, she's so excited to go on a girls' trip. Sedona is going to be so healing. They can go on hikes, eat great food, maybe get some acupuncture. In a confessional, Gina says, this marriage is really a rehabilitation for my busy work life. And I've really realized that I need to practice more self-care and spend more time with family and friends and less time at work. Okay. That's a lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that when the season started, that was going to be her issue.
Yeah. And so we now go to a pre-kiss, I guess. Dom and Clint meet up. She's coming down some steps with her dog Bo, and immediately Clint pays no mind to Dom. He's like, "Come here!" Oh, he just grabs her dog up and just starts, giving the dog up. She's like, "Oh, what's up, Dom? How are you?" I'll go back to this dog.
Did you notice how Dom is now 26?
Oh, we've aged.
We've aged.
Even more mature.
I'm surprised they didn't try to throw in her birthday at some point.
That fool's gotten older.
Right.
Didn't give us like the percentages, 26 and 1/8 or 26 and 12.
Yeah, but that Clint seeing Dom's dog gave me hints of how me and my friends are when we go to visit each other. It's just like the person who gets the attention first, or I guess the thing that gets the attention first are the dogs. So like goes to, "Oh my goodness, hey!" And it's like, "Oh yeah, hey!"
Oh, you're here too. What's up? Hey.
Right?
In a confessional, Dom says, me and Clint have never really talked that much, but I do know that he wants a dog. And, I just thought I'd come in, talk to him about it. It's like, oh, just come talk to him about him wanting a dog? Okay. So they walk it along the park. They banter a little bit about the dog. Clint says, yeah, I really want a dog. Hank was such a good intro into getting a dog. They banter about how to walk the dog. I mean, listen, Clint, I know that you offered $10,000 for Hank. We heard that last episode. And I don't want to say too much, but Clint, this is to Clint. Clint, I know you're out there watching. I know you're probably listening. I do have like access in a way to 2 dogs. Like, they're a good breed. Maltipoos. I don't know if you heard of it. I don't ask too many questions. I have access to them. I could probably find a way to get them, and I'll take half. I'll take $5,000 for one. You can give me 10 grand for 2. I'm just saying I have a way to get 2 nice dogs. Oh, I don't want to say a lot, but I mean, how do you feel about like spices? Like, I'm just saying that. How do you feel? This Clint, I know you're watching, listening. Let's let me know. I can put it together. No, he really wants a dog.
Clint, here's the cost for these 2 adorable dogs that Jason is referencing. $1 billion.
$1 billion. I mean, you don't even know what dogs I'm talking about. So how could you even say that?
Because look, here with $1 billion, hey, okay, you give me $1 billion, you get the Spice Girls.
With $1 billion,
But
you could
then
buy a
with
whole
$1 billion-
spice rack.
With $1 billion, I could get them back. There are things you could do with that amount of money.
Things you could do, people you can hire
Right.
to get dogs back.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be worried about it.
Clint, hit me up. I don't want to say what dogs I can get, but you know, I can get dogs. I can get
Wink,
dogs. Okay,
wink.
I can get dogs. So they're walking along in the park, and Clint, I like you, Clint. I really do, but this is a problem. Clint says, "So, word on the street."
Screet, yes.
I said, Clint. This is not the first time he's done this either.
Mm-mm.
Stop it, Clint. Just stop it. This is not a good look for you, Clint. Won't do this.
Because Clint is what? He's 40 or 41.
He turned 41 during this
Oh,
season.
yes, he
had his birthday
did.
party.
He strikes me as the guy who is like who could be fine being a forever bachelor, and he's
Mhm.
going to constantly try to have this lingo to appear younger than what he is.
It's not for you, Clint. It's not for you. Younger and of a different I don't know, social group. Say that. So Clint says, word on this great is that Mac and Gina are gonna go on a date. Dom pretends like she's never heard of this and acts shocked. But she does say, it's weird. It's like it would be like dating a coworker. And she says, well, Gina is really laying ass her stuff together. So no ordinary guy is really gonna be able to make it work with her.
I like these little props that she gave Gina. Like, Gina has her flaws for sure. But I was like, I love women supporting women.
For sure. Dom says, but I do wish them a lifetime of happiness and love. Clint with some I think really low key shade. Clint's like, it could work with Mac because he's more down to earth. Seems like he just likes to sit on the couch and watch a football game. He seems like a really ordinary guy. Gina is used to having the spotlight on her, and I feel like I kind of took that away from her a little bit with all my antics. But he did say, listen, I told him I'd get him a gift card for a steak dinner. Dom says, oh, add me to that card. Okay, Dom. But yeah, I felt like I did mention before like that. It felt as almost like Gina was maybe a little jealous of Clint being the center of attention in some way. So I think it's interesting that Clint himself is kind of pointing that out.
Yeah, Clint peeped it because we did talk about that in one of the hundreds of episodes we podcast about this season, where she said something that kind of led us to believe that, she's used to having a bigger personality in a relationship.
Yeah, I think it might be even an after party where Eris and Gina were on there, and Eris is like, I don't even really pay attention to Gina when Clint's around. Just the look on her face is like, yeah, I know. It's annoying.
Yeah.
So we get around to talk about Dom and what she's been up to. She says, she's been on the apps, looking around, seeing what's out there. But actually, she's thinking about reaching out to Gil. What? She asked Clint, Gil from the show? Clint says, I have no idea. I've never
watched the show.
I've never seen a single second of Married at First Sight. I have no idea who you're talking about. I am really surprised they kept that in the show.
It's hilarious because I've talked about this before. Just like, how do you not watch any of us? You don't have to watch every season like you and I, but I'm going on a show called Married at First Sight. Let me at least watch a couple episodes to see what I'm walking into.
Yeah, I don't understand how you just dive head first into this thing without doing any research into it at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have a feeling most of the men on this show probably the same way, really. Listen, let's be real. The fandom of MAFS is very female dominated. We can see that from the people in our Facebook group, right? We have a lot of women. We got a few guys, but not a whole lot, not a big portion.
Yeah, it's definitely not 50-50.
Not 50-50. No, definitely not. So yeah, Clint says, I have no idea who Gil is. So we get a package of Gil. We see his firefighter ways and all this.
It's basically his intro package from his season.
Right. It's like the matchmaking episode package of Gil.
Yeah.
Dom says, Gil's he seems like a really patient, kind, understanding, and considerate guy. He's got a good job, and he's attractive. Clint says, well, I mean, let's set up a message right now. They try and get the DM together. They're throwing back ideas back and forth. Clint says, well, maybe we should take a picture with the dog. Say you're looking for a puppy pop. Dom suggests pulling amigos and sending a snowflake emoji.
So I said, I know Jason does not know what this means. Let me pull it. let me have a pop culture reference moment. So who she's referring to in Migos is Quavo. So Migos is like a rap group. 3 guys, they're all related.
That part I know.
Okay, yeah. This is for the listeners.
Yeah, this is for all y'all out there. Okay,
you're right. Rest in peace, Takeoff. So this was back when Quavo and Saweetie were together. If you're watching Selling Sunset, Saweetie was on this season of Selling Sunset. Someone showed her a house. Bree showed Saweetie a house. So this is the reference. So I'm pulling it up if you're watching the YouTube version. So basically, this is how they got initiated into becoming the relationship they were. So Quavo sent Saweetie a snowflake. Saweetie responded with a ramen emoji. And then Quavo said, "You so icy, I'm a glacier boy." Saweetie said, "What's happening then?" And the rest is history. And then they were together for like a while. They broke up since, but
if you're watching the YouTube, I'm sure that you have the same reaction I have watching this. Just a face of bewilderment. There's nothing on this screen really makes sense.
Like that's all it took to be like, "Hey, I'm interested in getting to know you more. Let's date." He just sent snowflake because you so icy. He sent it to her to tell her that she's icy.
Did he want to send the snowflake and the message right behind each other, but she interrupted with the ramen noodles?
No.
To explain what the snowflake meant?
It's like he threw a snowflake at her like, "Hey girl, you icy." And so she responded, I don't know what the ramen is supposed to mean. Like, you're hot. Like, what's the ramen supposed to mean? And then he has to go on to say, "You so icy, I'm a glacier boy." I forgot how ridiculous this was until I read it again.
Yeah, that's nonsensical, really.
But it made sense to them. That's why it worked, and they were together for a while.
And that's how we do it in the dating era we're in right now. That's how you pull women like this.
Next time you're curious on how you should start up a DM, throw them a snowflake.
Listen, send them a snowflake. Send other random emojis. Who knows? It could work.
Could you imagine if she had actually gone through with this and sent him a snowflake? He'd been like, "Girl, what are you talking about?" Gil does not know this reference.
Has no idea. No idea.
But Dom, as a 26-year-old, definitely does. For that to be the first thing that popped in her mind, because I completely forgot about this.
I'm going to pull amigos. Like, what? You going to do a what now?
Because this was 5 years ago. This DM is from 2018. You so icy. I'm a glacier boy.
Dom just be sending snowflakes to everyone. She just be throwing snowflakes out there.
Oh yeah, that can't be the first time she's thought of it. She's probably done it. Yeah,
that's her move to send a snowflake.
I will say at the time it was like when Quavo tweeted that, like, this is where we started, this is where we are now. It was I was on a dating app and someone did send a snowflake. And then I responded, "You so icy." It didn't go anywhere past that, but it was like, okay, we both get the reference.
So sad.
Oh my!
And is the icy supposed to? What is the icy supposed to refer to? Does she have a lot of jewelry?
Yeah, like she's icy. Like it's like she dresses well, she accessorizes well. Short way to say all that.
Boy, I've never felt older. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt from laughing.
Never felt more out of touch with the youths.
Oh, and you know Clint had no idea what that meant.
He's like, yeah, a snowflake. Yeah, that's a good idea. Snow, all right. That's a girl.
Yeah,
I know
you so
exactly.
icy. I'm a glacier boy, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. So, man. Yeah, so, she wants to send a snowflake. Clint says, no, you can't do that. Because Clint knows what it is. Like, you don't want to do that. Are those two people still together? I have no idea.
No, they've broken up.
Okay. So, see, it doesn't work out that well.
She was recently pictured with YG. That was I saw that a couple days ago.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking. So they might be dating or they're just spending time together. I don't know.
Check back here next week. We'll have more information on that. So eventually Dom comes up with a message. It's very basic. She's like, hey, Gil, I also got married at first sight. Didn't work out though, but I remember you being cool in your season and thought we should hang out. And she's so nervous. She has Clint send the message. So I mean, this much like every other thing in this episode is extremely producer driven.
Mm-hmm.
Dom did not just out of the air pick Gil to send a message to.
Because do y'all know how many DMs Gil probably gets? Just randomly,
Still.
He's not looking in his DMs and oh, Dominique, who was this?
Yeah.
Literally, this was shot.
His season was over a year ago.
Because they
He's
made
still getting DMs.
They made reference to it being June.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, his season was over a year ago, but this season was shot over a year ago. So it's or a year ago exactly, because it was last June. So it's he wouldn't know, oh, Dominique, she's from this current season that I don't know how it played out.
But you know what though? At the time they're filming, his season might have just finished airing. Maybe.
No, no, we were talking about season 15. That was season 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were talking about season 15 last.
They may have been watching season 13 at that point. No, 14 at this point on actual television.
On actual television, yes. The Where Are They Now special was June 1st for season 14.
Yeah. But yeah, Gil is a producer favorite, so I think they'll be like, hey, we have to find someone to cameo in this season. Let's use Gil. Why not? So
yeah, they're like, hey, Gil, you single?
Yeah, so we're going to give you Dom's number, and she's going to DM, or username. She's going to DM you, and we're going to do a whole thing about it. Okay, Gil? All right, Dom. She's like, okay, whatever. So we now go.
The corny song after this said, I think I got a new crush.
Oh, gross.
Oh, goodness.
We now come upon Kirsten and Jasmine going to look at an apartment that Jasmine might rent. We again, just fire content, y'all. We get a tour of this apartment. That's actually a pretty detailed tour. That's when you know your show has no content. We get a tour of this apartment that no one may or may not rent. We don't know. In the confessional, Jasmine says she's ready to start fresh and move forward. She's looking at new jobs. She's looking forward to starting a new chapter. They banter with the realtor lady about, I'm going to get a fresh start and a new man. In confessional, Jasmine says, she misses the routine of marriage, but she does not miss Eris at all.
That's good.
Yes, of course. Kirsten suggests, why don't you save up, live with your parents a little bit, save up, buy a house. Jasmine says, oh yeah, of course you want me to buy a house, little Miss Realtor. Jasmine says, well, she wants to wait and buy one with her husband. Chris says, I ain't trying to wait for that long. I'll try to buy a house pretty soon. I actually put it off, once I found out I was getting married at first sight, but now I want to start looking again within the next year.
Hey, this is relatable. When I graduated college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep renting. I don't need to buy a house until I am married. Because why? Mm-hmm. Why would I want to live on my own?
10 years later.
I said, I'm not exactly, literally 10 years later, I said, I am not waiting to get married to enjoy myself
I'm gonna get me a sugar baby, and he gonna move in here.
Right. So I'm glad I stopped waiting. Jasmine, you might want to keep it moving if friend boy doesn't work out. You could do bad all by yourself.
Get a Tyler Perry.
Yes.
Jasmine says, who knows? Maybe in a year I could be remarried. Because I have just recently pressed resume on a pause on a guy that she met in college. But they're seeing just kind of seeing how things go right now. She shows Kirsten a picture of him. Kirsten's like, "Ooh, he's got nice hair." Of course, Kirsten would say that. We find out that this friend boy runs the district after school program. So I mean, it's got a nice job. So they have something in common. They like children. She talks about, I already knew him because we went to college together, but I, cut off a lot of relationships when I started the process to get married at first sight. But now I'm pushing resume on all of those relationships now. He hasn't asked her out yet.
That was a very clever way to say it.
Yeah.
I pressed a resume on a pause.
Well, listen, fair is fair, right? We gave Eris crap for this. I feel like we have to take Jasmine to task a little bit. But I mean, I don't think Jasmine was. I think Jasmine's time to push pause was like, okay, I'm filling out the application to get married.
Right.
I'm gonna hit pause. Eris is like, oh, I'm getting married in 2 weeks. I guess I should have some conversations and press pause because I'm getting married in 2. I knew this could be happening. I knew I was going into like finals for this, but I guess I'll press pause now.
But I didn't think it could happen.
I mean, I was hedging my bets. I didn't know. What was I going to do? Not have sex and not make the show? That wouldn't be a thing.
How was that possible?
Why would I do that? But yes. So yeah, she's pushing resume on some more relationships. So she's going out with friend boy. Kirsten says, we get Kirsten saying, she really wants someone that she's going to build a life together with. She's not sure when she's going to go out again. She really wants to focus on herself and her career right now, but she does know that she wants to be married. Jasmine says, listen, I am not going out with people anymore that don't know what they want, that aren't intentional. If they don't know what they want, she's just going to keep it pushing. I said, okay, Jasmine, get what you want, get what you need. I'm all about it. We get a quick diary cam I would give Kirsten this. Kirsten, more than anyone else on the show, knows how to do a good diary cam, right? She's very like, she's got the good angle going. She's like,
yes, absolutely.
She says, she talks about life after divorce. She says, listen, this is life after divorce. I'm going to brunch with my friends. You can see in the background, I bought myself some flowers. You just have to continue to appreciate yourself and be around those that uplift you. She's going to go enjoy this beautiful day because she is beautiful inside and out. I feel like Kirsten is really getting her like post-MAFS career started with all these like affirmations and these powerful positive messages. I feel like this is going to be her on Instagram every day now that she has some followers possibly.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, she's trying to like build her brand.
Yeah. She's going to be all about self-love, all about positivity, tell yourself you're beautiful. I'm not mad at it. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
We get a quick diary cam of Gina in Sedona, Arizona with her friends. I don't know why we needed this at all. She's just with her friends. I have my friend Jen and I have my friend something. And we're in Sedona, and we're doing it big, girl style. I was like, okay, all right, cool. You can go about your business. We then get another quick diary cam. We're in New York with Chris and Nicole as we're getting ready to go into Nicole's friend's wedding. We're like, great, happy for you, have fun. Eris meets up with Mac. Eris says, I'm getting back into the single life.
All over the country in this episode.
Eris is the hub of this group, apparently, with everybody but Jasmine, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Eris says, just get back to the single life. Mac has got a little bit of a head start on him. Mac says, well, how's the dating going? Eris says, I haven't really dated yet, but I did send out a text that landed.
Is that how you talk, Jason? If you sent like pre your wife, if you sent a text and someone responded, would you say, I sent a text and it landed?
I wouldn't. I understand what he means, that it was received and she responded, I would assume. But no, that's not how I would speak. I mean, but hey, to each their own. We find out now that Max says, "Listen, I took a job recently in Michigan for a company that I've been consulting for a while. It's kind of a bummer because I just started renting a house here." Eris says, Eris asks, "Did you hit Gina up yet?" He says, "Yeah, Gina's hot. So I like Gina, but I haven't told her about the move yet." In a confessional, Mac does say he's excited to go on the date. He knows that she is a businesswoman and he's really attracted to that aspect of her. And hopefully she likes long distance relationships. I mean, listen, Dom called it out. She said he's not ready to put down roots. He's not trying to stay here in Nashville. Max said, "You right. I'm out."
Yeah, and then I mean, I know it's later, but when Chris brings it up, he's like, "But that's not fair. If you did get married, you wouldn't be leaving."
Right, but then he would resent his wife because he feels like she would be holding him back from moving. So
yes, he literally thinks this job is like the perfect thing for him in this moment. So obviously, him being married, there would have been some type of feelings there. Mm-hmm. So hush, Chris.
Hush up. We then go to Shaq, who we hadn't seen yet this episode. We were wondering where Shaq is. Shaq is actually in Louisiana in a diary can. We find out he's in Louisiana because his grandmother recently passed away. We see a package featuring her at his wedding and some other nice family moments. He says it's really heartbreaking for the family and it's a lot to process with everything going on. They were very close and she taught him so much about life, but he's very thankful that she was able to see him get married and happy to get her approval. And the last thing that she told him was, "God got you." So yeah, very, very nice and touching, poignant moment for Shaq and his grandmother, who we'd already known because we heard from an in and after party early in the season that she passed away shortly after the wedding. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very, very nice moment to kind of to celebrate grandma there and visit with Shaq a little bit there.
Yeah, I thought that they did a great job in this moment, just like remembering her because there were so many pictures from like his childhood and recently. And so I bet Shaq appreciated that they took that moment to,
And we can take a week off of clowning Shaq for his grieving. So we'll lay off on Shaq this week. And it seems like the show kind of also did that. They're just like, just take a break this week, Shaq. We come back to the show. I had not been taking note of the days, but we're now 12 days after Decision Day, starting now. It's like, damn, how long we followed these people for? We're doing another month.
We got y'all a month after.
You better check your contracts. Finishes. Thought you were done after 2 months. You better check those contracts again. We got you for 3 months. Mm-hmm. We come on Chris and Nicole. They're back in Nashville, back from New York. They are at a gym. And you F45. Are familiar. Yeah, you're familiar with this F45 workout routine. She's telling him that, this is like my therapy. This is where I sweat it all out. This is where I get my stuff done. And, it's important that they do stuff like this together because it's a big part of her life. In a confessional, she talks about how competitive she and Chris are and how, she can really act like a brat when she loses. Flashback to her losing badly at golf and her being annoying about it. But she says it keeps things exciting that everything is kind of a competition with them. They go through the F45 workout. Chris is not having a great time. He's
struggling. He is straight up struggling. And I will tell you, like, it can be it is a challenging workout. So how they did it with all the different stations, basically all those stations are happening at once and you cycle through. So everybody is doing a different station at once. And they have those screens that kind of demonstrate what you're doing. And it's really the fitness. I guess like the fitness levels are a wide range because you can do as heavy as you want or as light as you want when you're doing like the weights and stuff. But like when I was seeing him do like what do you call it? I was supposed to say like the knee ups. What do you call it?
The kettlebells or
no, like when he's putting his high knees.
Oh, high knees.
I was like, oh.
And my boy was on the struggle bus. It's like a seat on the struggle bus. He was locked in on it, and he was not getting off anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be back ever because what they did was the light version. Because I'm sure they recorded it for the show. I'm sure they didn't do a full-fledged workout, but the way it usually is, depending on the type of workout it is, they'll have that station and you'll do that for like 2 minutes, but 3 2-minute rounds. It's like 2 minutes and then rest for like 20 seconds. All right, back up, do it again. So if he went to a real class, he really would have a wake-up call.
He'd be dead. But yeah, so they go through all this, and throughout this whole workout, Nicole is asking, "Am I winning? Am I winning this?" I feel like Nicole is like kind of a producer's pet, and she knows
Oh,
that
for sure. I mean, if all the group meetings haven't been a dead giveaway about that.
So she knows this segment is about her being competitive. So she knows what the producers want. So she's constantly asking, "Oh, am I winning this? Did I win?" The instructor does confirm, "Yes, Nicole, you won." In a confession, Nicole says she knows that Chris is going to have a new respect for her after seeing her do this, because this is stuff that she does on top of all the other stuff that she does. So they sit down, they have a little stretch. He talks about, that was really hard. He is still out of breath, but it made him
what did she bring me to?
Yeah, but it made him realize he needs to get into the gym more. Nicole said, "Yeah, totally." She talks about doing things with each other.
She didn't say like, "No, babe, you're good."
It's like, "You're
she
fantastic."
Said, yeah.
Yep, you're gonna get your ass here every day. I will be dragging you here every single day. I saw what you were doing. We need to come back every day. You need some work. But she talks about how they need to do things that are out of their comfort zones if the other person likes to do it. She references fantasy football. She's trying to learn how to get in touch with that, so because she knows that it's the thing he likes. He says, "Well, maybe tomorrow we can try some tennis." She says, "I cannot guarantee that I'll be good at it, but I will try." All right, Nicole. Okay. We get a quick confessional from Kirsten telling us that she did indeed call Shaq to extend her condolences to him. She wanted to check on him, see how he is, because she does, at the end of the day, care about him and his family, and she wants to continue to uplift one another, and she will pray for him and his family. Now, much like the other confessional, she really had her like social media voice and face on. Like, I mean, not to say that she didn't mean what she was saying, but
Yeah, and she really didn't point on like she pointed out that they hadn't talked since that group thing. So I was waiting for her to say like, how did it go talking to him,
I'd be very curious to see how that went. Was it, if she did indeed call him, or was it like a sorry about your grandmother text?
Yeah, or like, how did she feel? Was it like it was really nice to hear from him? I didn't think I'd feel that way.
Did they have any other conversation outside of that? Was there any other thing talked about, or was it strictly?
Was it a 1-minute phone call when we hung up?
Right. Yeah, I would have been very curious to know all that, but it seems like we're going to get another meeting between them next week, so we'll see how the vibe is at that point. I did say online there is, as Clint would say, the streets are talking. That there has been some suggestion that Shaq and Kirsten got back together. They moved to Texas. That's what the streets are saying. And we did get confirmation that Shaq is now in Texas because he took another job at a different college. He's a VP of marketing or something for a college. So do you know he's in Texas? No, I do not know that much.
Huh. I mean, because we did see in the previews them sitting down together, having another conversation, as if like, because he's like in the previews, he's like, we didn't really get to, fully see this through.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Do you think, Shaq? I wonder who's to blame for that, Shaquille.
But we said we take a break on him this episode.
I'm sorry. I got back in my feelings. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, Shaq. We'll get to you next. We'll get to you next week. Though. We got some words next week. So yeah, that's.
But so you don't know what college?
No, I don't. I can't find it again. It's fine. Some college in Texas doesn't matter.
It does matter. I live in Texas. I want to know, am I going to run into them or not?
Well, I'll see if I can find it again. I'll let you know. We now come upon a meeting with Clint. Clint and Eris are going to meet up with some of Clint's friends. I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything, but as Clint and Eris are walking up, I'm wondering if Eris is like, should I be here? Should I get out of here?
I was like looking down, like typing, like Clint hanging out with his friends, and I missed Eris until Eris spoke while they were sitting down. I was like, "What is Eris doing here?"
Doesn't really seem like Eris this scene, but
Yeah, I was so shocked.
so yeah, they sit down with the friends, and they all cheer to the single life. One of Clint's friends asks, "So did you get kicked out, or what happened?" And Clint says, "No. We parted amicably." They ask Eris to say, he's like, "No. Me and Jasmine are great friends, probably even better friends than Gina and Clint." Meanwhile, Jasmine's like, "I don't know who you think you're talking about, but not me."
Like, I am done with him.
Clint talks about how him and Gina both really wanted to be married and happy, but they just didn't have that fire. They just didn't have that desire. Friends, one of the friends asked, "So did this help you grow at all?" Eris says, "Yeah, it forced me to have some hard conversations. I couldn't really avoid the hard conversations because I lived with her, so I had to really take it head on. And going forward, he's going to take it head on instead of just disappearing like he used to do when hard conversations came up." I said, "Okay, yeah." Eris doesn't see like type that he just dips and you don't see him for another week or so.
Right. Exactly. There is for those of you up to date on the Ultimatum Queer Love, there is a specific person that came to mind because of this drop, this week's drop, when Eris said that. But you'll see, Jason, when you watch.
We get it, Asia. You have a show talking about an ultimatum.
You're gonna have people think you hate the show.
There's another promo for Asia's podcast about the ultimatum. Go check it out. It's fantastic.
Don't act like you don't like the show.
It's fine. I haven't watched this week's yet.
Right. So
you keep telling
when
me
you
great,
do,
so we'll see.
You will have thoughts.
I like the first drop. I enjoyed the first drop. All right. And getting back to the show we're supposed to be talking about. Clint says, yeah, I did do a lot of stretching. And at first he just says he did a lot of stretching. I was like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I mean stretching mentally. I learned that I need to be more choosy when I approach someone, like in a bar, and to go deeper than just the physical. And says, well, I mean, you can't really go that deep at a bar. Yeah.
You look good, but who are you?
Okay, but who are you? Really deep down. Because it's I won't interrogate people, but I know I have to be more mindful because I've been in many relationships where it's been just physical, and he wants more than that. The conversation then goes to, they ask Clint, so did you know immediately that it wasn't going to work out? He says, well, our lifestyle is just so different. So I mean, basically, yes, he did know. It was pretty immediate. They knew it wasn't going to work.
He's like,
yeah, well, the female friend says, well, you guys did have some compatible stuff that you could relate on. Because, I mean, yeah, we both drive Toyotas. We both like steak. We both live in the same building. I said, y'all both drive Toyotas. I thought y'all were richer than that. You gotta get on an Aysha Wealth level. What happened? I thought y'all were there driving some Range Rovers or something. BMWs. What's happening? Toyotas? Maybe they gotta spend all their money on those high rises or something. I don't know.
Probably. Because aren't they downtown?
Probably. It seems like they are the deluxe apartment in the Sky Eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Eris actually interjects, says, well, when the group would get together, Clint and Gina, they actually did have some really good energy. Clint says, yeah, but nothing really came of it. We gave it our all, all the way through this marriage thing. Because marriage is so hard. And as I would do if I was in this situation, his friends, who I assume are either married to each other or they're married to different people, said, this guy over here talking about how hard it is. He was married for 2 months. As if he has any idea. That's what I would be like. That's what I would be saying. And
they literally bust out laughing at him.
Busted out laughing. As if he has any real experience or idea what marriage is like.
Yeah.
Clint, you are not actually even married at all. You had to share it. It's like the real world. You had to share it apart with another person. Like that's all you did. You were not really married. We come now to Chris and Nicole. We're back doing more activities with our married couple. They were all set to play tennis, but those darn pickleballers got in the way, took the tennis courts, so they had to switch over to baseball. In a confessional, Chris says, it's important to him to do the things that each other likes, and he has played baseball all his life, and he wants to teach her how to play so that she can understand why it's so important to him. They play catch, I guess, a little bit. They throw the baseball
Mhm.
around. They talk about how her favorite player is Mark Teixeira. They give a boring story about how she held up a sign telling Mark Teixeira to divorce his wife. But good thing he didn't, because now Chris is her husband. Fantastic
Right.
content. Chris
Riveting.
says, maybe Nicole's place, is maybe not on the baseball, field, but in the crowd cheering. She's not that great at it. Okay. They talk about how maybe they should do a rec league team. Good way to meet people, get a new hobby going. And then we kind of pivot the conversation over to travel. He says, maybe we could go to Chicago, see some more of my friends and family. We can go to Florida to visit your dad, because I know your dad has a bunch of chickens. And we find out that Nicole's dad has named his chickens after the whole cast. Everyone has a chicken.
Everyone, even Mac and Dom.
Yeah. And we get a montage of all the chickens and who they're named after.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole talks about how nice it is to have a travel companion now. And they talk about, they bring up this story about Chris making a trip to drive to New Jersey with his dogs for some reason. He is excited to move in together, and he wants to see how their style is going to clash.
Yeah, he talked about like New Jersey and Florida and how doing it alone was awful, but if they could do it together, that'd be great.
Great, fantastic. She talks about how she almost bought some horrible furniture the other day, like a big magnifying glasses for really no reason. And we get a confessional from Chris about how she's very frivolous with her furniture purchases, and she kind of needs to balance her out a little bit. Nicole says, "Yeah, I really need you to come with me to really kind of save me from myself from buying this crazy stuff." Okay. We get another quick confessional from Jasmine talking about, hey, she's back out in these streets. She got a date with her friend boy tonight. She is officially back on the market. All right, Jasmine, get it?
Yes. So I was like, cannot wait to meet this man.
I can't wait to see this guy who we haven't, for some reason, they've been keeping his face from us. Like, it must be some big reveal that who this guy's going to be.
Right.
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So then Kirsten goes to meet a career coach because she's feeling a little lost. She tells the career coach like her real estate business is doing well, but currently she's going through a divorce. And the career coach was like, you're going through all these things. You got to allow these experiences to fuel you and see how they can make you a better person. And so then she asked Kirsten, like in the divorce, in the marriage, like what were some things that she wanted to improve on. And Kirsten correctly says she wants to improve her expectations and her communication skills. So, those were the two biggest issues in their relationship was unmatched expectations and the perception of unmatched expectations, and then their ability to communicate with each other. So I was like, at least Kirsten knows, even before watching it back, she knows what their demise was. So that happened.
That happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we need to come along with Kirsten and her career coaching? This is what I'm talking about. Why do we have these segments in here?
They said we got to get a Kirsten update. And I was even thinking, looking for Jasmine's apartment. That's the Kirsten update. But no.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And so then we finally get to the date. So we get this. It's really weird because it's like we're getting, behind the back. And then it's just like, oh, this is weird. And then we get his lower third. It says, Jasmine's anonymous date, friend boy. I was very confused. All to find out, Jasmine's like, look, I don't want people to know. I want the world to know who he is when I'm ready. So we go this whole date and we don't see his face.
As if people are going to mob this man when they find out who he is online.
Only people she knows would know him.
Right. It's weird. It's is this like a PA or something? Was this Montre? Did they get Montre to step in and be a date?
No, I think he has locks. That was not Montre.
They could have put a wig on him, but we know what Montre looks like. So they're like, we'll just say he's anonymous.
It was because the whole date they were like doing these shots because they were trying to be as creative as possible because we couldn't see him. So they're doing these shots of like going up his face, blur his face as soon as we get past his chin. It's like, and then they would give far back shots, but not completely blur. I'm like, I feel like I kind of know what he looks like. Like, I feel like I have a very good sense of what this man looks like. But because I'm not friends with Jasmine, I don't know him. So I'm like, pretty simple. But I feel like they had fun doing that. Yeah. Wait, you're muted. And you're still muted. Jason is just talking away. There we go.
I in my performance art, I unplugged my mic, so I had to.
Oh, jeez.
You know, people got to suffer for my art a little bit. You know.
Yeah. Sacrifices.
Yes. Exactly.
So it was funny just how creative they were trying to be throughout the state.
And they didn't really do a great job of blurring his face.
No, I feel like we all saw him.
I could really kind of see if I squinted my eyes what he looked like. I could probably do a good sketch if I had a sketch artist with me. Like,
yeah, we just don't know his name.
Yeah.
So it would have been funny if she like said it during the date and they didn't bleep it out.
Like, oops.
He asked her, is she like going on other dates? She says, no, I haven't been on any other dates. And he's like, why? She's like, because I'm interested in you.
Because I just got divorced like 12 days ago. How many days took me to be on?
And so friend boy says he asked her like what makes her comfortable with dating now. She says she feel like she got a taste of the married life, and like enough of a taste to where now she really wants to be married. And so she's like, look, this was the issue in my marriage. I got to put it out there. Are you attracted to me? He's like, what? I'm almost offended you asked me that. Of course. I'm very attracted to you. He said, you know, you're a gorgeous girl. And she's like,
you don't say that. You silly goose.
And she says, she's like, I know I'm a bad bee and you make me feel that way. And so he's holding her hand and then they reach over and they kiss.
It's a plant. It's a PA or something.
No, I believe it's actually someone she knows.
Friend boy.
You know who I do think is a plant?
Oh, the Clint's date?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
100%.
feel like Jasmine's date is a plant. I feel like if anything, this is the most realistic situation because she's like actually trying to be like, okay, wait, I can record it, but don't show anybody.
They're putting his business out in the street. I want to keep this one. I don't want anybody hounding him.
Literally. Then we go over back to the married couple, Chris and Nicole. They're furniture shopping. He's thinking $1,000 to $2,000 for a couch. She's looking at any and everything. She can't take her eyes off of this $1,900 gold spinning chair. And Nicole is willing to pay a little bit more than $2,000 for a couch, at least, because she's like, if it lasts 10 years, then it's worth it. But Chris tells us his couch at home is $300. So
listen, I relate with Chris. I go to IKEA for all my furniture. I go to furniture warehouses. I don't go to these bougie places, and I'm sure Aysha Welch's house is full of this type of furniture. I'm sure Aysha Welch has 10 spinning gold chairs in her mansion.
I just finished paying off my couch.
Paying off your couch. See, I don't pay off couches. I buy it all at once because that's how little they cost.
I just
it's like a car. I just finished paying off my couch.
I spent a long time looking for the perfect couch. And I finally found it.
How much was the couch? How much is the couch? Come on. You had to finance it, so I know it had to be pretty penny.
It was like, I think it was $2,500.
Okay, I legit thought you were going to say 25,000, but the fact you said 100, I was like,
I don't know who you think I am.
You're Aysha Welch. That's who I know you are.
So I was like, well, they're giving me a year interest free. Might as well take advantage of it.
I can imagine paying $2,500 for a couch, to be honest with you.
Even if it's really comfortable.
All couches are comfortable at first.
Okay.
It's about how long the couch lasts.
Yes, that is a very important thing. The dogs love it. They sleep on it during the day, even when I'm working at the table.
I mean, let's be honest. They would sleep on any couch. It's not like dogs.
True.
It's like
they
dogs
slept on
are
my
that
old
picky when it
couches.
comes to couches.
No, this one they said, "Mom,
This is
this
it.
couch though."
This is your best work.
Right. And it's like green and it's velvet and it's a sectional.
Green and velvet. That's a choice.
When you and your wife finally visit Houston, you'll get to see it in person. You'll be like, you know what? That is a good couch.
You were right.
You were
I'll be
right.
sleeping. I'm gonna sleep on that couch right next to Pepper and Cinnamon. Like, yep, this is the move right here.
No, for real. I wake up sometimes. I'm like, wait, what day is it?
Where am I?
Yeah.
This green velvet dream that I just was sleeping on. It feels like a cloud. This green velvet cloud.
Honestly. So anywho.
Green velvet. Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'll send you a picture.
Okay. Please do that.
Right. Maybe I'll put in the Facebook group.
There you go. We can all see it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was their furniture trip. There no purchases were made.
Gosh, like why? Just why? This had to be an hour and a half. This had to. You had to make this hour and a half TV show. Okay.
Absolutely. Clint goes on a date with someone named Nicole. I was like, well, this is funny because I've been typing Clint and Nicole all season anyway because I kept getting it for there's so many times in my notes where Chris is Clint, but I'm like, we're talking about Nicole and Chris. This is supposed to be Chris. The C's trip me up. So Clint is ready to show off present his new abilities that he's learned in his marriage. The first thing I noticed about Nicole as she walks up is she's also a redhead. And so I was like, this is perfect.
She's got redder hair than him.
Yeah.
I've always maintained. I said, Clint, I wouldn't even classify Clint as a redhead. He's more like a dark blonde in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I would not even classify Clint as a redhead if I was looking at Clint and Mac side by side. I was like, Mac's hair is not even that much different color than Clint's. What is Gina's problem?
No idea. So they're playing.
What is Nicole's problem? Apparently,
yes. So they're playing disc golf.
I had never seen disc golf. Like I'd seen it, of course, with Chris from the Boston season, but I didn't realize what disc golf really was. It is like golf, where wherever it lands, that's where you play the next turn. I was like, that's interesting. Maybe I would be interested in playing a little disc golf.
I would be so concerned about my aim with a frisbee. Like I have good aim with like basketball. I can get to the goal. But with a frisbee?
You said you threw that freaking thing? I was like,
yes.
He said, wow. I was like, he threw it like he knew where it was going. I would just be
no clue.
I would just be tossing it like I usually would to like a whoop,
like
wow.
He was really trying to show off. It was just like way not by the thing.
Yeah. All of a sudden, a dark figure appears. It's Chris from Boston. You think you can disc golf and not have me around to cameo?
Right. I'm the disc golf person. I'm the
NECA champ. Or NEFA. I'm the NEFA champ around here.
So they do a little small talk. She likes sailing too. He does tell us, like in a confessional, that she is more of his type. She's fit and she's toned. They sit down and talk. She reveals she has 2 dogs. I was like, oh, Clint's gonna love this.
Like, oh, really?
Right.
Tell me about them.
Right.
Why aren't they here with you now?
Right. He said he tells her, he's like, I'm just getting out of a marriage where we had a dog, so I get it.
You get what?
Y'all didn't have a dog.
What do you get? This again with the marriage thing. Yeah, marriage. I know what that's like. No, you don't.
So once he says that, she says she's divorced, and so they have that in common. He asks her, so what are your deal breakers? She looks at him. She pauses.
She looks at him. She looks at the producer who has given her the line.
Then she goes, redheads.
Dun, dun, dun.
She's like, the problem is anytime two redheads are together, people always think that they're related. And Clint, oh, so they think you're kissing your brother, huh?
It's like you're kissing your brother.
Oh my goodness, so ridiculous. So he's like, you gotta be kidding me.
He said it's a person, not a hair color.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So that's not gonna work out for Clint.
I was dumbfounded by this because this was obviously a plant, a thing, a gag, if you will.
Yeah, right.
So you're gonna say that you don't like redheads because that's a sore spot for Clint.
Yep, exactly. Because otherwise, why didn't he just go on a date with the girl that he had relations with?
Right.
Like, hey, I need a date for this show. Let's make it happen.
If you have a preference for hair color, if you're going to go on a blind date, the first thing I would do if I had a weird preference for hair color for some reason, I was like, he's not a redhead, is he? Because I got problems with redheads. I hate people with red hair.
Yeah. So anyway, we get to the Mac and Gina date. This is the date episode. So Mac and Gina, Gina has been back in town because, as you know, we discussed earlier, she was in Sedona and then she's going to Canada, but she has 36 hours back in town and she's squeezing in a date with Mac.
With Mac Attack McKinley or McKenzie, whatever his name is.
Well, the little bit of after party I watched, Jamel kept saying McKinley.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, just like every time she referred to it, she's like McKinley. So McKinley. I was
McKinley.
It's like I feel like I haven't heard McKinley this much. So yeah, she's back in town for 36 hours. So she decided to squeeze out some time for a latte art date. Max says that he was in Michigan while she was in Sedona. And she's like, Flint? He's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, well, I'm from Memphis.
What does that mean? And it was brought up a couple times that Mac is from Flint, Michigan. I mean, I know we know, Flint, Michigan has been in the news, in the past. So that's an interesting thing. But they kept bringing it up. Like Eris brought it up when they met, when Max is Michigan. He's like, oh yeah, Flint, right? Yeah, terrible water there, I heard.
Yes, yeah, that's why I think they're bringing it up.
Yeah.
And so then Gina points out, she's like, actually, I don't know that much about you. Only like what the guys have said about you. And so he says in a confessional that like he had some hesitations going into this date because he's not opposed to long distance, but he doesn't know how she's going to feel. They do this latte art. Cool.
Yeah.
So we go in detail
about fascinating latte art.
Everything that they're doing during the date. And she says, she tells him that he looks nice and that he's always had swag.
Now, Gina, why are you lying?
Right.
Either you lying or you don't know what swag is. You don't know who has swag and who does not have swag.
It's that she doesn't know.
You may have only said it to shade Clint in the show, but why are you lying?
Mm-hmm.
That makes me know that you don't know what swag is if you're being serious. That you're just using this word, not knowing what this word really means.
Exactly. So he talks about how like he's like, yeah, so I heard you're like an entrepreneur. I heard about your salon, and we have that in common. And he talks about how he had a contractor company, lawn care. He was growing weed. He has his woodworking business, and then they joke, "Oh, you could do weed and woodworking." Ha 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 ha.
Weed and wood, guys. They both have W's. Weed and wood. Oh my God. Oh
God. They're so creative. Never would have thought of that.
My gosh.
Then she asks, like, wait, so you're 35, right? And he's like, oh, I just turned 35. And she's like, oh, I'm 35. So I'm older. No, he just turned 34 and she's 35 and like 1 month old. She just turned 35 on May 1st.
That's how minute this conversation got, you guys. They are literally parsing it to the day. So I am a year and a month Oh, oh my gosh. If this is in your TV show, you should look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing what's right? Am I doing what's proper putting this television show on? Have some ethics and morals, TV people.
Oh my gosh. It reminds me of like when I used to have a roommate. Like I talk a lot. I mean, I'm on a podcast, okay? And so that reminds me of this. Oh my gosh, too many segues. But that reminds me of this TikTok sound of Kelly from The Office. Somebody was like, Kelly, you did you said something great or whatever. And then she said, I talk a lot. So I have no idea what he's talking about. But anyway, when I had a roommate, I talk so much. So I was like, there were times where I would be talking about something and then I realized as I'm talking, like, what I'm saying is so unnecessary right now.
This was so off the topic of this started on.
I'm like, I need to just find a pin. I need to find an ending point because I'm sure she's not listening anymore.
It's like you were driving. You're like, how did I get to this part of town? How did I get here?
That's what this guy is. How we talking about ages at our big old ages of 35? No, I just celebrated a birthday. My half birthday was last month.
What month did your birthday though? That's important.
So you're a Taurus.
So that's let me see. That's May, June, July, August. So you're actually a year and a month older than me. That's fascinating stuff.
Wait, so when I was in kindergarten, you probably were in pre-K.
Oh, well, what age did you start school? Oh. Man, just a riveting date. Like this fits them to a T. They are both so boring and so milquetoast that I suppose the show had a duty to show this date, but I'm sure they were in the editing bay. Like, well, I don't even know. But in the age conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
I do not envy those producers and people on Married at First Sight trying to have to put this show together. This specific episode.
They did this to themselves by allowing this.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, like, I just wasn't that attracted to Dom as I am to you. She's fine with this.
Gina's like, I get it. I understand. Like, okay, Gina. All right. You were so offended when someone dared talk about attractiveness, because it was against you. But now that it's in your favor, you're like, oh, yeah, I know, right? Dom is so unattractive. I am way more attractive than Dom is. I said, come on.
I was like, and Dom was just supporting you, girl.
Yep.
And so he drops the bombshell. Hey, I'm moving back to Michigan on Sunday, actually. So while she's gonna be in Canada, he's moving back to Michigan. He said he's in the process of it. She's like, well, that's a little bit of a bummer, but that doesn't scare me. I want to continue hanging out and talking and getting to know each other.
Yeah, it was like,
so it's a non-issue.
What you gonna say? I don't care.
Yeah, right.
That's fine.
But Mac did say on After Party that he is single.
Yeah, I think he said they went on a couple of dates. I don't know why they are spoiling the reunion in these after parties, because Jamel's getting all the dirt and the tea on what they're up to basically after the show, like right now.
Yeah.
Now. Weird.
Unless they recorded after parties before the reunion.
Possibly, but I feel like they're giving all the information in the after party. Like, not much is going to change probably by reunion time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because right now actually it's Rudy's. If we match up the time to when Shaq told us his grandmother passed away on After Party, and with Rudy being gone, this had to be really recent because she just had her baby. So they do as they usually do. The ladies met up and the guys met up. So the ladies met up at a barnyard to pick flowers.
Because that's what you
do. Yeah, the guys met up at like a park, and Eris had Duchess and Clint had Hank. So like, y'all just got your ex's dogs, or
this is just a normal thing? Y'all come scoop up your ex's dogs and just go to the park,
right? So with the ladies, Jasmine says she's been doing some living. She's been out in these streets like Eris.
These streets, I think you mean.
Yeah, right. She got a new apartment and a new friend boy. So they're like, ooh.
Doing it up big time.
So over with the guys, Chris asked, have they been going on dates? Clint said, I went on a date. But then she didn't have a thing for redheads. So there's that. With the ladies, Kirsten asked Dom, like, what you been up to? She's like, well, actually, I'm going to have a FaceTime chat with Gil. And they're like, ooh, Gil. And then Jasmine's like, but that girl he was with, and she's like, let me stop.
She's like, let me stop hating. Let me stop, getting a cast member fight or beef going on. She don't want none of Mirla's smoke.
I was about to go. I said, let me go see if Mila said anything on Instagram.
Do not want that smoke.
Because saying that is that's enough fighting words to have some Twitter beef.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, you could tell all the ladies watch Married at First Sight like, oh, Gil.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to Clee's like, I don't know any Gils. I don't know.
Right, no clue. Yeah, imagine Clint brought that up with the guys. Yeah, I hung out with Dom and she messaged Gil.
Like, oh, Gil? Oh.
Exactly. So we will see the FaceTime date next episode 23.
We'll bring all musty ass Gil out of mothballs. It's all right. Y'all can keep Gil. It's all right. I don't need it.
And so we get a confession from Nicole because she's like, wait, Gil's in Houston and what's her name? Dom had an issue with Mac moving to Michigan because of the distance. She's like, that's really interesting.
Dom's like, listen, okay, it's not my fault. Production made me talk to Gil, okay? Right. Don't shade me.
Yeah, they couldn't even fly him out. It's gonna be on FaceTime.
Yeah, they can pull Olivia and Ryan and bring them out to set.
Right. And so Kirsten says she's not concerned about Shaq. And then it gets so I feel like I was personally feeling awkward because Nicole was like, yeah, Gil has a lot going on right now. Because I guess they were talking about like, oh, are you concerned about your exes like dating? And Nicole's like, yeah, no, Shaq has a lot going on right now. And Kirsten's like, no, he didn't have time for me. He never had time for anybody else. I was like, no. She's talking about him grieving.
I don't care.
Yeah, literally. I was like, y'all are not on the same page. I'm like, no, Kirsten.
If he got time to go to Louisiana, he could have had time for me. He's going for his grandmother's funeral. I don't care.
Right. It's like, wait a second. What is happening? So anywho, let's see. So Jasmine says she's sure Eris is sending all kinds of big heads. Nicole's like, yes, I do feel like there was a big head. Big head got a resurgence.
Yes, there was definitely
I laughed out loud.
There was for sure a big head resurgence.
Yes.
Like, Nicole, do you even know what we're talking about right now?
I feel like Nicole knows. So Nicole's for anybody confused about this big head situation, it's basically when you haven't been talking to someone for a while and you try to hit them up again, like you're interested again, maybe it's an ex, maybe it's somebody you used to talk to or whatever. You say, hey, big head. He's like, hey. Like
you kind of nudge him, like, hey,
yeah, right.
You silly goose.
Right. It's like a snowflake.
You have to, silly goose.
Right. So that's what the big head reference is. And it's funny because they actually talk about it with the guys. So they asked, like, okay, has anybody had sex since decision day? And Clint has had sex since decision day. He said he had to call up NASA to clear a rocket launch.
That was gross.
I know.
What? Why did Clint? I mean, I don't have to ask why Clint said that. That seems like something Clint would say. B, why did the show have to put that in there? Gross. Right? TMI.
Really? Eris is like, yeah, I didn't wait too long either. It's been 12 days.
I'm shocked, but I'm also not shocked. Especially with the fact that these two guys are the two guys that also had sex 2 weeks before their wedding.
It's literally been 12 days.
How many days do you think it took? How many days do you think it actually took?
Probably 3.
Yeah, probably.
They were like, let me let the weekend pass.
Air's walking the field after the decision. He's like, they get my apps unpaused.
Yeah.
If he even waited till decision day, who knows? The morning of decision day, he could have been doing it. Who knows what's going on?
And then they asked, like, oh, is this somebody you knew? Clem was like, well, mine was somebody I knew before. And Eris was like, yeah, mine was a big head.
Yeah. Clint's like, define new. Do I know this woman? I guess in a way. Is she a friend? I wouldn't even say that much. She is an acquaintance.
Right. Oh, gosh. Then Eris says he wouldn't be surprised if Jasmine was going out on dates because that's what she said she would do. And he feels like him and Jasmine are good. We go back over to the ladies. Nicole asks about Duchess. She's like, you're going to let Eris like keep Duchess all the time? She's like, no. He has her today. Like, and that's it.
And
it's
that
not going
is
to be
only
happening
because,
much longer.
So, and that's only because the producers made me give Duchess to Eris for the day to make it look like Eris was to hang out with Duchess. But no, this is for today, one day only.
Right. Then they decide to FaceTime Gina because we got to get an update from Gina. We have to. So Nicole takes this perfect opportunity to ask, "How was the date with Mac?"
The woman can't read a room to save her life.
No, absolutely not.
And listen, I know Dom doesn't really care, but it's still weird.
Yeah. So Gina says, like, "Oh, it went really well. She found out he's moving to Michigan." Dom's like, What did I tell you? She's like, really? I'm so surprised that he's moving to Michigan. I never would have guessed it.
Who has two thumbs and was right about Mac? This girl.
Right. So yeah, Dom's like, I knew it. And so we go back to the guys. Mac says his date with Gina was interesting. He said it was more than what he expected because he didn't expect her to be down for long distance. He said she's nice, but he's not ready to jump into anything too soon. And then and that was the point where, Chris took up for Mac about like, oh, if you wouldn't have moved if you got married. So then we go back to the ladies. Kirsten says Shaq was crying on decision day. And she's like, I should have been the one crying.
She cannot get over this.
And she said this already last episode. And it's funny because Married at First Sight advertised was like, who said, why are you crying? I should have been the one crying. I'm like, she said it last episode.
I literally said, I saw that too. And I was like, did they accidentally post one for last week, this week? But no, she said it again.
She said it again. She has a broken record.
This boy had the nerve to boo-hoo cry on decision day.
So that was it. Next time we got our preview. There's gonna be some archery. That's when everybody gets together. Clint looks at Dom, gets with Dom and is like, do we look good together? Dom has her FaceTime date with Gil, or I don't even know if you call it a date. She had her FaceTime meeting with Gil. Clint does have Hank, and this is where we see the possession is blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what's going on with that. Shaq says they didn't get a fair shot to get on one accord.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. They you had 2 months to do it, and that was more than enough time.
We see Clint and Dom kissing. And while that kiss was happening, Eris had his arm around Jasmine. I think it's because he thinks like they're best friends now.
I guess, but it's an odd sight because there was even a sight like that when they were married.
Right. Now he's like, oh, I'm clear to do whatever.
Yeah. Like, oh, we friends now. We can get friend hugs.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for this episode.
I mean, listen, I always say you can tell how good an episode is by our episode length, our podcast length.
Right.
Not even close to 2 hours.
No. And
I guess much to talk about
at all. And I know with Married at First Sight UK, they stopped airing it on Lifetime.
Yeah, they've stopped because they would usually air at 6:00, air 2 episodes before MAFS on Wednesday night. But I would assume, I think what happened is it's not doing great in the ratings, and they may have to pay more of a licensing fee if they keep airing it on live TV. So what they're doing is every week they're going to put them on demand on the Lifetime app or through your cable provider. Now, I didn't tell you this, but their episodes are up on YouTube as well for, I think, pretty much the whole season for MAFS UK. But I didn't tell you that. Someone else told you that. I did. I think I posted the link for it in one of the conversations that was happening about MAFS UK in the Facebook group. Maybe I'll drop by and post it in a post as well later today. Who knows?
Okay. So
but yeah, no MAFS UK minute because I haven't watched it yet for the latest episodes.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We had a great time making something out of nothing.
Yeah,
we
sure.
will attempt to do the same next week.
Hopefully we get something of something. I mean, it's technically the last episode of being in Nashville in the moment before we transport in time, maybe 5 or 6 months to find out what's happening at the reunion.
And then what can we even like with what's happening now? I don't even know where we can even go in the reunion. That would be just like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So what changed between the post-decision day and the reunion? Nothing. Just pretty much the same stuff you saw.
Yeah, we're good. Chris and Nicole. Ooh, any plans? Oh, well, we're doing another wedding. We're traveling to Florida.
We have a big announcement.
Mm-hmm.
We did buy that gold chair.
Right. Flashback to her in their apartment, spinning in the chair, show the dogs in the chair.
They love to fake us out like that.
Yeah, we already know how it's gonna go. So yes, make sure you go subscribe to our Love at First Sight feed, as well as leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Also go join the Facebook group where the password is friendboy. Jason, what are you up to? Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at JAYR1085. You can find me recently on Postal Recaps, wrapped up the first season of Citadel, a show on Amazon Prime that was kind of trash. Me and my co-host Marissa Garza broke it all down, crapped on it a ton, had fun talking about how bad it was. So check us out there. And that's it. I'm kind of winding down on a lot of my projects recently. So I do have something in the works coming up pretty soon in the month of June. So I'll talk more about it when it comes up. But yeah, for now, that's it for me.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Right now, other than Married at First Sight, I'm also talking about The Ultimatum Queer Love with Mary Kwiatkowski and Dr. Evie Jagoda.
Oh, I hadn't heard. Had no idea.
We're having a great time talking about this season. It's way better than I expected it to be. It's way better than the last one, The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On. This one is there's just so much drama. It's just so entertaining. So if you haven't started already, I would highly recommend it. If you've been on the fence, definitely go check it out and check out the podcast. And yeah, I'm sure Love is Blind After the Altar will be coming shortly after The Ultimatum is over. So if you subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, you'll get all of those podcasts in the same spot. So yeah, we will be back next week to talk about episode 23. And until then, we'll see y'all later. Bye.